created by so you know the thing.
Walked in this place and said, wow, this is a huge dome. Bozeman's got it all right.
Stage 2.
Go.
Flight directors, go for launch. We have liftoff. Vehicles pitching downrange. Execute. Vehicle supersonic. Stage separation.
You guys know what this represents? Well, it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storming?
Could be the calm before the storm. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
What storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Give us a hint on your answer.
Thank you, everybody.
Love the way he shuts it down. Thank you, everyone. Get out now. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Just Our Take, episode number 78. My name is John. I'm your host, and my co-host is David. How you doing, David?
I'm doing great, John. I'm doing great. That never gets old for me. What storm, Mr. President? Oh, you'll find out. Never gets old for me.
Thank you, everybody. Leave.
Get out. Well, at least he can push people out on his own. Biden had to have, an army of people kicking reporters out.
I think it's great. So Pat says, is David bopping to the music? I have to tell you,
yes.
If you go back and look at the first 45 episodes, we're both playing the drums and the air guitar, and I mean, you name it. Yeah. So we bop out to the music. We kind of love our intro music.
Yeah, I do. Hey, welcome to Just Our Take. This is the views expressed on, this is our disclaimer. The views expressed here are our own. You may agree, you may not agree. If you don't agree, that's fine. Please light it up in the comments. If you feel like we missed something, educate us. This is our opportunity to, this started out with John and I just kind of sharing, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And of course, we sometimes have some crazy way out in left field or right field conspiracy theory type thoughts on it. And so it's just kind of fun banter. And of course, it's evolved into something a little bit more. But at the end of the day, if you hear something, you're like, that's nutty. Just remember, it's just our take.
I was going back and looking at some of our early notes from some of our early shows back in 2020 when we were first just trying to put this together. And we each had aliases. We weren't going by John and David. We had aliases, and they were goofy.
They were goofy. And also it's 2025, but it's the 2020s. Technology today is advanced enough. If somebody wanted to know who is that guy, you could probably just do an image search. And
it's easy. And yes, Josh has pointed out that I trimmed my beard way back.
Wow.
So, this is stage one of the clean cut. I go much deeper and much shorter in another few weeks. But right now, at 21 degrees outside, this keeps my face warm. By the way, I have to show you a real quick picture before we get too far into things. Mrs. John and I took a drive to go pick up a new member of the family. There was a dog that needed rescuing. And so we drove about 8.5 hours. I got to fix that dog. We drove about 8.5 hours down to an area, and then we drove 8.5 hours back home to rescue this new animal. And I just have to turn it because when we put things into the space here, it turns them sideways, and you wouldn't get a real good image of our new family member. So here is the latest family member. Let's see. You're gonna love him. He's just the cutest little thing. It is just our take two. Yeah, it is your take two, Pat.
That's
we
right.
have. You can comment down below. You can obviously comment in the chat. We love it when you do that. You can also send us an email to justourtakeshow@gmail.com and meet Mac. That's Mac.
Oh, that's the nice picture of him.
Mac,
there he is.
he's a great dude. He's a great dude. But he comes with some issues, but that's okay. We'll take it. I just want to real quickly before we get lost in it, I want to thank our sponsor, Steel Rebel Design. Kim and company over at Steel Rebel Design. They do all the hats, shirts, hoodies, cups, mugs, you name it. They do it. If it's merchandise for the Just Our Take show, they do it. But they also do a whole lot of other things. I'm going to show you some of the work that they do. She just did some monograms on some towels the other day. They turned out so nice that I'm going to have some towels monogrammed. I don't even know what I'm going to do with them, but they do a great job. So whether it's your Just Our Take gear that you want, or if it's some work for yourself, she does do embroider. She does not screen printing. It's actually called DTF, and a whole lot of other things. But David, you're not wearing your latest acquisition, but you did pick up the latest piece
that's true. Hold on.
From Steel Rebel Design. I
should be wearing it.
Kim and company worked really hard to perfect this one, and she's perfected the dark MAGA hat, and she came up with a surprise for us here at Just Our Take. She actually made a snow camo a snow camo, Make America Great Again, and it's actually white with slight colors of gray, and then the lettering is all white, so it's almost stealth. It's kind of like where the dark MAGA is all dark. This one is white on white, and a little bit of snow camo. It looks great, and I can't wait to get that out to you guys. But anyway, thank you, Kim and company at Steel Rebel Design, for sponsoring the Just Our Take show.
I was going to make two quick comments. Number one, on the monogram towels. That's brilliant. So Mrs. David, for some reason, has her own towel, but for some reason finds mine more convenient. So when I go to take a shower, of course, it's wet. So maybe if I had my name all over and I put her name on hers, then maybe I'd have a dry towel.
People have questions. I'm sorry. People have questions about Mac, so I'm going to come back to that. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, the second thing is dark MAGA. I think Mrs. David took my dark MAGA hat. I will find it. Yeah, I know. It's like, this looks really good. But anyways, I'll get it back and wear it so I can model for the show.
I know where we can get some.
Yeah, Steel Rebel.
They will be up in the store. We have a storefront section over there at Steel Rail Design, and that will be up in the storefront by the end of the week, as well as some pictures of our hats on models. So there you go. Frankie and Nikki both are taking Mac with a grain of salt. Mac has a spinal cord injury, so we have to be very careful about how we introduce them, but that's okay. They're going to do well. So far, so good. I mean, pretty much they're just kind of doing their own thing. It's like, oh, okay, so you're part of the pack too. Anyway, let me just share this one with you. This is a fun way to start, so let's dig right in. What do you say?
Yes.
All right, you ready? Yep, when you're ready. Okay. Since the January 6th attack on the US Capitol, when supporters of Donald Trump stormed this building, trying to prevent the election victory of Joe Biden from being certified. On the anniversary. Oh my God.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
Stormed the Capitol. By the way, that's almost as funny.
Donald Trump. Supporters of Donald Trump stormed the Capitol.
Stormed. It's almost as funny as what's his name? George Floyd's mural, that beautiful mural where lightning hit it and it burned the whole thing. It's like God saying, yeah, actually, I don't think you have this one quite right.
Yeah, it was perfect timing. I mean, it could not have been better timing, right? Anyway, we are going to be talking about tomorrow, which is January 6th. We're going to be talking about that after we get to a couple of other stories first. So stick around. You're not going to want to miss that part. Okay, so we're going to talk about a couple of things that happened New Year's Day. We have to talk about it. Now, I know it's been all over in the news, what happened in Louisiana and what happened in Vegas, but we have to talk a little bit about it, John, because, you know, what do you think about this? So I have a couple clips I want to play, but just in case you've been living dark, meaning without any news for the last few days, I don't think you missed it, but there were two what we would call terror attacks in the U.S. And I don't remember the woman's name, Sarah something, that came on Sean Ryan's show and talked about Sarah Adams. She talked about the fact that, you know, there are people here already in our country, and that, you know, things might heat up, and some of these things might happen, and then sure enough, New Year's Day, we had two. And I'll talk about the first one, which is the one that happened in Louisiana, where there is a person, I'll read you a little bit more about his bio in a couple minutes, but he essentially rented a truck, drove through the French Quarter. Unfortunately, 14 people were killed. Several others were injured. And, you know, of course, that's a horrible thing that happened. And, you know, there's a lot of little pieces to that event that are worth talking about and kind of lead my simple mind to some crazy conspiracy theories. And I'm sure, John, I'd love to get your take on it. But, you know, we all look at it and said, well, somebody drove a truck through a crowd. By the way, a couple other details: had a flag on the back of the truck that had the ISIS flag on it, and was very deliberate what he was doing. We call it a terrorist attack. What else do you call it? It's not an accident. He didn't make an incorrect right turn. He was very deliberate about this. So, however, not everybody thinks it was a terrorist attack.
Duncan, if you want to have a few words for me.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning. My name is Alika Duncan. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge for FBI New Orleans. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we'll be taking over the investigative lead for this event. This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found.
Wait a minute.
This is not a terrorist event.
There are these explosive devices.
This is not a terrorist event.
So just like in the opening segment where you captured it perfectly, mostly peaceful protest, although there are some fires. Okay, improvised explosive device, truck running people over, not a terrorist event. What do you call it? I mean, I don't understand. Is this another one of those where the earth really is flat?
Look, the bottom line is these guys, they come out and they say these things, and if you just used an ounce of common sense, if it were someone turning down the wrong street on the wrong way because they were inebriated, then local police would handle it. But that's not what's happening. What's happening is the FBI is jumping in because it is a terrorist attack.
It is a terrorist attack. And so there were a lot of questions for, I don't know if she's 81 or 82, but Chief Kirkpatrick.
Madam, do you acknowledge that you let the victims down by not having an appropriate security plan?
Oh, that's not correct. That's not correct. We would disagree with that. We had
It was
a
a plan
security
that allowed an attacker
Well,
to drive into a crowd.
and I take exception to that. And I do. not
So do we.
Be a failure.
understand. We do know that people have lost their lives. But if you're experienced with terrorism, you would not be asking that question.
Well, with respect, experience of terrorism surely requires appropriate security plan.
Oh, the PAO jumps right in and sweeps her away.
Yeah, thank you, Sky News. Okay, so if you had experience with terrorism, hello, you've got a major event in your city, and did you take the proper precautions? Oh, we wouldn't say that we didn't take proper precautions.
Let's talk about that. So there are automatic ballards, or these hydraulic lifts that come up when there are events on Bourbon Street, and these are meant to prevent exactly that, for somebody to drive down the road and mow down a bunch of people. So those automatic ballards had been removed prior to New Year's Eve because they needed repair, and they didn't think to do anything in order to try to get them, I don't know, some sort of safety down Bourbon Street when we know that there will be tens of thousands of revelers on New Year's. I don't get it. But we took all the precautions.
Yeah. So the automatic bollards are down for repair. And then looks like you have queued up another important video which shows some of the other precautions that the city of New Orleans may have been able to deploy.
Let's listen to her again. She's fun.
She's fun.
What you see behind us is what we call hardening the target. So we have brought in heavy trucks. You will see when you go down Bourbon, you will see yellow, what we call archers, and they're along the sidewalk. And that would be to be preventive if someone had, or if this particular terrorist went around up on the sidewalk, that's what that would do. Okay, it would slow that down for anyone who thought that they could breach our targets. And so those are some of the main differences we are done in the quarter. Also, you are going to see an incredibly large presence of police. And we are, though, confident, but we want our community to feel confident and know they are confidently safe. And that's what we're going to do. So right now, I can declare to you that the Bourbon Street is open.
Okay. Words matter, because she did say those archers are going to stop people if they think they're going to breach our targets. Our targets?
Our targets? When you harden target, by the way, it's a hardened target.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Yeah. So, I can't help thinking, okay, so I have a couple more, but just really quick, John, you have for Bourbon's, you've been there before, I think, right? You've been down there and walked through that.
Believe it or not, I have never been. I know, it's a shock. I've been everywhere except
many places. Yeah. Well, on any given night, I've been there like on a Wednesday night, a Thursday night. It feels like it's Friday night or Saturday night, right? Like people are up till late hours, the whole bit. And it's a free for all. The streets are closed, and you just walk through, and it's just a big, massive. In fact, I was there during COVID. Guess what? There were a lot of people out on that street even during COVID. So they were not masked up, just in case you're wondering. So it's really obvious now. That it's New Year's. It's going to be especially busy, and you have to be a complete moron to not think to yourself, New Year's, how do we protect people? Hey, what do they do in the big cities like New York and Times Square? Well, they bring in the big fire trucks and the cement trucks and every big truck they can. They've got bollards there too. And that's to keep people from driving through the crowds. So here, bollards down, and they don't have the other equipment.
Well, there are many people that say the ballard's down and they didn't put anything else in there. Sounds as if it were, as if they were opening that up and letting somebody do it. However, do we know anything about the driver?
Yeah, so I was gonna share a couple things. So I'm sure I will not say his name correctly, and I'm not even gonna apologize for that. But Shamsud, not Mohammed, by the way, Shamsuddin Jabber. This guy, he struggled. It seems like he struggled most of his adult life. 2 failed marriages, mountain of debt. He was in the army for a while, served 11 months in Afghanistan. He went to, he trained in, what's that fort in Texas? I'm going to get it wrong.
You're talking about North Carolina or Fort Bragg? Fort Bragg, North Carolina?
No, where was he? He was in it's called Liberty now. Wasn't he in the one in Texas?
No,
Am I
no.
wrong?
Fort Bragg is where he was.
Oh, Fort Bragg. Okay. Don't expect me to know the forts, John. That's your territory. Anyway, so this guy, he was struggling for a while, and there are people in his family who've said that he was radicalized in the last couple of years. And he'd been to Egypt. He'd been to, I don't know why going to Ontario, Canada matters, but that showed up in the news several times. But he was absolutely, he was definitely of the Muslim faith. And there's a reporter who just happened to, let me see, I've got her name here. I want to give her credit for this. It is, why am I losing? Oh, Jennifer Taylor. I hope I'm saying her name right. New York Post reporter. She is able to just walk through his residence and give you a whole video tour.
Goodness
Have you seen this?
We're here inside.
It's 2 minutes. I can cut it if you want, but
home. You can see that it's been clearly destroyed, the door at least, from the FBI raid yesterday. But if we walk through the home, we see some signs of what he was up to. He had this work area here.
just going to pause for a second. They're there, able to walk through this place unescorted. I mean, I don't know, maybe the police are all outside, but she's just in there with her camera person, just walking through, videoing, looking at everything. And I don't know, John, it just feels odd to me.
Well, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. Don't you remember the Las Vegas shooter? They left his house unsecured and somebody came in and stole his hard drives. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, no police chase, no police tape. It wasn't secured. The building was not under any kind of surveillance. They hadn't even finished removing all of the electronics from the place, which is, again, just a bit interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. And she's just walking through room to room. But she's going to point out as he's got some electrical stuff, some technical things, some he's got Korans all over the place, and there's the FBI paperwork. What's that?
Can't open.
And he's hungry, and it's easier to find it if you leave it on the counter, I've been told. Anyways, I just found that really interesting. It's not super exciting of a clip so much as just to show that she's able to walk through the entire place, including the back bedrooms, without any security detail, whether any police escort, anything. And I just found that incredibly odd.
Well, the same time that we had the I don't even know what you call it. It was a terrorist attack. And the first thing, so what I have learned in my years of experience around these things, usually the first reports are the most accurate, because that's before the cleaners come in and tell them what you're supposed to be saying and what you're not supposed to be saying. So some of the first reports were that there were 4 accomplices. They've since walked that back and said there were no accomplices. Then they said that there were at least 4 improvised explosive devices being placed outside and along the streets. Now, let's go back to what Sarah Adams said on the Sean Ryan show, where they were talking about the over 1,000 ISIS-trained warriors that were over here in the United States. One of the things that they said was, and one of their tactics was, that they would cause an event and then they would place explosives around the event. So when law enforcement and crowds showed up, they would detonate those secondary devices for mass casualties. Now, originally we were told, nope, that didn't happen. Now we're hearing At first, we were told, yes, look at, they're all out there. Look at it, check it out. We've got cameras. They showed video of somebody placing one, and now that's been scrubbed. So I don't know. I mean, I do, but you know,
I do have a, we do have this video, and this is Jabbar through his Google Glass. Well, this isn't his Google Glasses. This is allegedly a security camera, which has. I'm going to assume they blurred out everybody they could to just focus on this person as not just a dirty camera. But he's there with what looks like a cooler. And in that cooler is the improvised device. And you will see, I'll move forward just a little bit here because he scans there for a little while. And then he puts it next to this trash can. And you're going to see him walk away. Any second now, he's going to walk away.
Who's he waving to?
Yeah, right. I said the same thing. That was really odd. Here, look. Let's go look at that again. Doesn't that seem odd to you?
No, he's signaling his co-conspirators.
I did it right here. I put it right. This is where it is.
Yep.
And there's allegedly the other one in another cooler. So, yeah. So he did it. He planted the IEDs.
Yeah. Interesting. And again, we will, I don't know. I made a comment on one of the socials earlier that said, my hope to getting to the bottom of these and others is that Kash Patel is going to be the director of the FBI here in just a few short days.
Yeah, I agree. It feels like there's too many inconsistencies. The stories change too fast, which we know that always happens, right? When an event like this occurs, everyone rushes to fill in the blanks with their opinions, which sound like, this is what happened. And then you hope that as the evidence people start sifting through the evidence, that the truth comes out. But at this point anymore, I don't know that we are ever going to know the truth.
I think we will, especially with it. So I will come back to it later, but I will tell you that on our drive, I took that opportunity to listen to Government Gangsters, the book by Kash Patel. Great book and lots of information in there. And I truly believe when you listen to his philosophy that they're going to clean that up. Let me show you what else was going on New Year's Eve.
What else was going on?
Well, you know.
Well, Giovanni, it was just after 8:40 this morning when that Tesla Cybertruck exploded in front of the Trump Hotel near Las Vegas Boulevard. Tonight, authorities telling us they know what caused that explosion to happen, but are still working to piece together a motive. Tonight, one person is dead and 7 others injured after a 2024 Cybertruck exploded in front of the Trump Hotel on Las Vegas Boulevard. A surveillance camera on property capturing the moment the truck blew up, leaving behind a plume of smoke and debris near the hotel's entrance.
We're looking directly into Trump Tower from our room, and then I saw there was a second explosion. So I heard one and then saw the other one actually happen, and it was like fireworks were shooting off.
Investigators confirmed a body was found inside the Cybertruck. Authorities are still working to identify them.
We do know who rented the truck. We are looking at that individual, but I am not prepared to release the name of any of the individuals that we are looking at.
Following that, our second objective is to determine whether this was an act of terrorism or not.
Also found in the explosion's aftermath, fireworks and gas canisters in the truck's bed.
I just want to stop right there and we go back just a little bit. So you can look at the cache in there. There are several gas cans back there, and there are fireworks.
Yep.
Well, this gentleman that they have identified as the person who owned the vehicle, he was a special operator. He knew his way around ordnance. He knew what would and would not create a massive explosion. There's a lot of things coming out about this one. This looks like, and by that looking can, that is high octane racing fuel. The others are, it looks like there's some, kerosene cans in there and what have you. You can see in that explosion, there's several secondary explosions that look just like fireworks because they were. If he really wanted to, well, I shouldn't say how he could have done this better. But I do know that someone with minimal knowledge of ordnance could have made that into a much more powerful explosion, and they didn't. There's a lot of things that happened. First of all, the body was burned beyond recognition. There was definitely a bullet hole in the body, in the head of the body that was in there. And originally, I was poo-pooing the idea he did rent the Tesla. And by the way, David, who did he rent that Tesla from?
Well, this is the let me see if you're shocked by this. So the company, hold on a second. The company, I'm going to get it right here. Tua, am I saying it right? Yep. Hold on. Yeah. Turo. Sorry. I want to make sure I get it right. Turo happens to 31% of Turo is owned by IAC Incorporated. And guess who's on the board of directors for IAC? Chelsea Clinton. What?
Well,
What?
now we're not making any claims that Chelsea Clinton had anything to do with this. However, it is an interesting coincidence. But this car was rented by the Tesla was rented at Turo, which is basically it's David, you can explain it.
Well, Turo, it's like you can rent out your car. You can rent out your own car. It's like VRBOs, but for automobiles. So if you're not using your vehicle, you can list it there and someone can come rent it, and your vehicle can earn you some rental money while it's not being used. It's actually a really cool idea. Of course, after this, I wonder how, popular that is.
And what other vehicle was rented through Turo?
Well, the first one was the Ford Lightning, right? Electric vehicle.
And where was that used?
That was the one used in New Orleans.
So both of these terror attacks on New Year's were both of them were rented from Turo. I'm sure it's just a great, big, ridiculous coincidence. Anyway, let me get back to this real quick. So there are some people that are speculating. By the way, look, we talk about Sean Ryan a lot on here. Sean Ryan had a pretty mind-blowing, you can go back and look at it. It's his January 3rd show. He had a guy that came on with him who was also a special operator at one point in the Intel community, as well as this guy was in the Intel community, the guy who drove this Tesla. There's some speculation that he was trying to be a whistleblower and bring light to some issues that were very troublesome to him and others, and nobody was listening to him. So this is how he was supposed to get his word out there. He did send a, quote, manifesto. That word is so overused, but he sent a manifesto out to many people within the Intel community, also podcasters that were former Intel people. And those people have both published them and taken them to the FBI. Here's where it gets a little mind-blowing. So the body was shot in the head prior to the detonation. And prior could be hours, could be seconds. We don't know. Because the Tesla has a self-driving mode that could have driven it right to that place, parked it, and then the bomb could have gone off. Thoughts, David? Thoughts?
Yeah, no, I feel like this is the conspiracy theorist in me. I feel the same way, right? So I have been in a Tesla that's been in the self-driving mode. I will tell you, it is incredible. Like it's not just like, oh, that's pretty neat. It almost works. No, it worked perfectly. Out of my driveway, through the windy streets, onto a freeway, changing lanes when the drivers ahead of us are driving too slowly, getting off on the correct off-ramp, making the big circle, going into a garage, parking. It was a flawless experience.
It's reasonable to believe that this could have happened that way.
I 1000% believe that it's possible that somebody could have put a body in that truck, already burned beyond recognition, program the truck to go to where it needs to go. It ends up there. The rest of it we saw in the news.
Yeah, and I don't think that it had to be burned beyond recognition beforehand. He could have just doused it with some sort of accelerant.
That's right.
To make sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, we get the one piece that was leaked. And the DNA was not his DNA of the body was not the same as his son. And some people took that to mean that, oh, he was depressed because he found out his child wasn't from him. Or other people like, wait a minute, you ding dong. They're saying it wasn't him, which I was baffled by. How do you get that one so wrong?
No. What they're saying is he did get. So what they're claiming is that the operator knew, Levenberger, is that his name? Levenberger, that he did know that his son was not his biological son. And they're claiming that that set him off. However, I was just listening to I was listening to a couple special operators earlier, and they're like, wait, what? So his wife had an affair? He had an affair? Well, that's kind of par for the course in the special ops movement, in the special ops arena. That's not something that would send somebody off into some spiral to go try to blow up a building. I mean, it's anyway.
Did you get clips from his manifesto? And I know that word's overused, but
so no, and I don't want to, for a few reasons, don't want to put them out there, if that's okay with you. That there are some things that I just kind of want to leave alone, and the manifesto is one, only because parts of it sound lunatic like. However, we don't know. We just don't know, and I hate to say it. He talks about some very interesting weapon systems that the military has. How about that? Is that good enough?
Slightly disappointing, but that's fine. I'm not married to the topic. I will say he did sound a little crazy, but at the same time, how many times have we heard things that's like, that sounds really crazy, and then later you find out actually, okay, that was true. So I thought for a minute.
Oh yeah, I'm going to come back to this. Yeah, but it could have been that he faked his own death and then went underground, since he's released all this information. That's a possibility. That is one possibility. Another possibility is, maybe this is just further to get attention. Look, guys, pay attention. Listen, this is what I'm trying to tell you. And by the way, he did happen to serve at the same base as our New Orleans bomber. Let me just show you another quick one here. This apparently is him, Levelers or whatever his name, Leverberger, and his ex-wife.
Posted up, midnight red-eye flight. Sarah Beans, old Matty B.
Try not to be weird.
Not to be weird.
Not allowed to be weird or embarrass him. They can't do that.
We're judging people in front of the walking thing. You can choose to walk. You can choose to stand still. You can choose to
pick a side. People pick a side.
You can walk aside it if you want some exercise and just be devoid of technology if you choose.
Okay.
Pick a side. Pick a side.
They're saying that she was a absolute Trump hater. So, yeah.
Is that true?
The original? Well, that's what they're saying. I mean, again, this is to take the news reports. They're saying she was a Trump hater. The original reports are they're saying that, oh no, he loved Trump. That's why he took his Tesla down there to blow up the building. Sometimes these people just don't make any sense.
Look, I know this is not going to become an ad for Tesla, but honestly, like, that was pretty good. That Tesla didn't contained whatever that explosion was. It still contained it. Now, I'm sure if he had used some of his real skills to build something a little bit more successful, maybe we would have seen a different outcome. But still, that was kind of impressive.
Well, sometimes these people just build things right. Built things. I mean, he did build a spaceship. That's our entire intro on the Just Our Take.
That's right. Well, we've had two. Look, this is tough, right? Because you cannot live your life in fear. You just can't. I mean, you can, but I hope you wouldn't. At the same time, you have to be, I think, a little more thoughtful today than you had to, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago. And I just feel like if you're going to be in a crowded area, be observant. And we've seen already a few vehicles used in different parades and markets, right? We've seen a few of those already. So if you're going to go out to a busy place where cars have access, then maybe you just want to ask yourself, where do I want to walk? Are there bollards? Can vehicles come in here? And if they can, where do I want to be? And you just got to pay attention. You shouldn't have to think that way, but I feel like you might have to for a while. It doesn't mean be afraid. Don't go to a farmer's market, because you have to live your life. At the same time, John, I'll tell you, I'm probably not going to go to a major sporting event for a bit. I probably won't. I'm not saying other people should just dismiss it and not go, because that could be a target, because you got to live your life. But at the same time, maybe you might have to just be aware of who's around you and what's happening.
Well, I think that we talked about this on the show a few weeks ago, and when we did the whole Sarah Adams,
Yep.
Sarah Adams deal, I think that it's pretty safe to say she gave as clear a warning as you can get. Oh boy, did it again. Doggone it. Let me try this. So by the way, what other shows can you find where where the hosts will actually replay a video for you when they ask?
Oh, you have no audio this time. So your browser is not liking you right now.
All right. Well, it's not going to do it, but
so Sarah warned us immediately afterwards. We have a couple of attacks, and now we just have to be thoughtful and careful. I don't know if you have any final words on those events. All right. Then,
no, but I do have I'm going to move on to the next on our show agenda. Is that all right, David?
I was going to ask you, can we move on to the next agenda item?
On the way out, he's lighting more matches. That's right. Joe is a busy man.
God's sakes, this guy.
For those of you at home, that is Bill Nye, the science guy.
The Presidential Medal of Freedom is awarded to William Sanford Nye, a Washington, D.C. native. Bill Nye began his career as a cutting-edge mechanical engineer in Seattle before becoming a beloved science educator for the nation. Earning 19 Emmy Awards for his energetic experiments on television as Bill Nye the Science Guy, he also earned the trust of millions of children and families. By sharing the magic of fun and science, he inspires generations of Americans to follow facts and reason and leave the world better than we found.
And he is also one of those that loves to spew the conspiracy of global warming. He doesn't have a meteorological background at all. However, the founder of the Weather Channel does. And at every chance he gets, he loves to rip apart Bill Nye, the Science Guy. But who else did Joe decide that he was going to honor on his way out? How about this one? I know you guys will be so happy to see this.
Sorry, I stepped on you, John.
Why would you do that?
I was gonna show you.
I got you.
The same one, only different. But go ahead. Show you. Oh my God! We've been waiting for so long for this moment. It's like the Black Eye Club. No different. Okay, now I'm gonna play.
Some people are saying that's the same dress she wore when she debated Donald Trump. So that's a faux pas, I guess. I don't know.
She has a small wardrobe. So here's the actual unedited, undoctored view. All right. That's the unedited view, John. I don't know which one you were showing, but the one I was showing was the correct one.
Well, let's just go. You never cease to amaze me. I'm going to go through and we're just going to really quickly take a look at who else he decided that he was going to honor. So he honored Jose Andres. Jose Andres is the renowned Spanish-American culinary innovator. Yeah, whatever. Bono. Now, how many does Bono get, by the way? I think that Bono was given one by Obama, and I don't know. I think that this is not his first one. Ashton Baldwin Carter, he was 25th Secretary of Defense. And he's already not with us. Hillary Roadkill Clinton. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
It's Rodman, not
Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox, I believe this is not his first one either. However, I like Michael J. Fox. Tim Gill is a visionary entrepreneur who worked and has advanced the LGBTQI LMNOP equality after transforming and publishing industry throughout groundbreaking software. Jane Goodall. Now, I've met Jane Goodall. She's an interesting lady. She truly is passionate about what she does. And anybody that can spend that much time with monkeys has got to be worth a military, presidential freedom. I don't know who's Fanny Hammer.
I don't know. She transformed.
Go ahead, you can read that one.
No, you got it. The struggle for racial justice in America. As a founder of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, she challenged the exclusion of Black voices in the political system that laid the groundwork for the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which, by the way, I think the Democratic Congress at that time said no, but it got passed anyways.
And then we got Irvin Magic Johnson, a man who reportedly, by his own words, had sex with 300 people a year for many years in a row, and then he ended up with HIV. Robert Francis Kennedy, that's RFK, the senior. Sorry, go back, David. What you have to...
Magic Johnson, to his credit, though, he did a lot of work. It says off the court. He opened up different restaurant chains and different businesses, and he actually, created quite a business, employed quite a number of people. So he did a lot actually for the inner city.
He did a lot off the court. That's what they said. RFK, Ralph Lauren. Again, he made the dress that Hillary was wearing. Lionel Messi. By the way, I don't know if this is true, but I saw several reports that he refused. This is the most decorated soccer player in history. That he refused to receive or to send somebody in his place. So
I don't know if he refused, like, I'm not taking it, but he did not attend and he did not have somebody pick it up for him.
Yeah, I think he said, you can keep that chunk. William Nye, the science guy, what a wonderful man he is. George Romney, I guess that's, George Romney was a businessman who served as chairman, president of American Motor Corporation, AMC. Public servant, he later served as both the governor of Michigan and the secretary of Housing and Urban Development. David Rubenstein is a co-founder and chairman of the Carlyle Group. George Soros. Now, this one's rather interesting, wouldn't you say? George Soros.
I do have a photo of George at a younger age. Would you like to see who he was?
Are the people ready for this picture?
I don't know, but
go ahead.
This is George Soros.
Such a young lad.
Such a young lad. And by the way, he's the guy who made sure he said, the one way to disrupt the country is you start at the bottom, work your way up. So if we put in some of these really soft DAs that will be soft on crime, we can disrupt the inner cities. There's a current picture of George Soros. I showed the one from his youth. This is the one from a current image. He is Emperor Palpatine. That's who he is. This guy is evil and he's open about it. He absolutely, it's his wish to see the United States fail.
Yep.
And his son, Alex, is right there with him. Yeah. Keep going.
By the way, Marie, how did we miss this? I'm sorry. I have failed in my job. You're absolutely right, Marie. Not only that's producer Marie for everybody else here. Not only did I not talk about what this guy did and who he is, why he's important, but Jose Andres.
Oh, yes.
Wasn't just some Spanish culinary innovator. David, could you find that picture as I'm going through there? We got to come back to it because you're absolutely right, Marie. Sorry about that. We missed it. We totally screwed up our own punchline. George Stevens Jr. George Stevens is an award-winning writer, director, author, playwright. He's been dedicated to preserving and celebrating the best American film and filming acts, Kennedy Centers, blah, blah, blah. Denzel Washington. Why not? Denzel Washington won a award from the president as well. And so did Anna Wintour. Anna Wintour is a renowned fashion icon who has led Vogue as editor-in-chief since 1988, a champion in philanthropic causes. She is also the leading architect behind the annual Met Gala fundraiser and chief content officer of Condé Nast.
Did Jill make the cover of Vogue?
I'm sure she did.
Okay. Who's that guy? Who's the guy on the right, John?
Well, the guy on the right is the guy that we found in the bushes outside of one of the Trump golf courses with a rifle aimed at the former president and now president-elect.
And who's the guy on the left?
Oh, that would be the culinary expert himself.
We got to make sure we give him a medal. You can't make this stuff up. I don't know. I feel like what are all the things I can do? Peaceful transfer of power. What are all the things I can do to burn it down before I drop the keys as I walk out of the building, stumble out of the building?
Well, speaking of a peaceful transfer of power, as many of you may or may not recall, I had a prediction going into last week, and that prediction was that they would not be able to come to an agreement on a Speaker of the House, which would be the beginning of a constitutional crisis. Now, if they would not have voted to bring in Mike Johnson or re-elect Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House, then what would have happened was tomorrow, January 6th, when they're supposed to certify the election, there would not be a certification because there would not be a Speaker of the House. There is no business that can be done without a Speaker of the House. They can only continue to work to find a Speaker of the House. So because of that, that would have caused an issue all the way up until the 20th of January if they still hadn't picked a Speaker of the House. Again, could have been difficult, but those were some of the things we talked about. My thought process was, if they don't have a speaker and they can't conduct the business tomorrow on January 6th, then they'll send in their clowns to cause another gathering. And I think David's got a picture of the standby crowd that they've got right now for us.
I've got a couple pictures, but this is this is a current protest that's happening now. I will show you there's a call to protest, and then I'll show you what I think that protest is going to look like. But this one is a couple minutes.
Lock him up!
Lock him up for what?
Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up! Lock him up!
To demand that Congress uphold the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution, specifically Section 3, that states that an insurrectionist cannot be president. And if you have any doubt that this guy is an insurrectionist, you should come out of the cave that you live in and get a supercomputer in your pocket like we all have, because all the information's out there and it's undeniable. Please hear me out, Democrats. Please stop blaming each other and saying we went too far left, or we should have done this, or we got to be Joe Rogan, and no, you don't. We lost, and I'm using air quotes because I don't believe it. That's up to you if you do. We lost the election because
election, you crazy radical. Anyways, you don't need to see anymore. But the bottom line is they're out there protesting today. And they're demanding it. We already played last Sunday, right? It was Raskin saying, hey, we're going to use the 14th Amendment to stop the inauguration, right? So
to stop the certification. So what they're saying is that that President Trump does not have the qualifications to be a president because of his violation of the 14th Amendment, Section 3, which says that insurrectionists cannot hold office. However, the big problem with the insurrection theory there is, one, no one's been charged with insurrection. Not one person from January 6th has been charged with insurrection, including Donald Trump. And the Supreme Court has said that what Donald Trump did does not rise to the level of insurrection when they were deciding on whether or not to allow any of these states, including Colorado, to keep him off of the ballot using the 14th Amendment as the ruling for why they would do that. But, never leave that or never let that be an issue. The Democrats are going to continue with whatever it is that they do when they try to throw a tantrum.
Yeah. And this is about defending democracy this time around. I'll tell you, anybody who acts physically, it says, join the peaceful protest. Now, we've seen what a peaceful protest look like, right? Mostly peace. There are some buildings on fire. We've seen that. So we've seen other peaceful protests at the Capitol. We'll see what happens on tomorrow. And then just one more, I will show you if in fact they do protest. This is what it could look like. I mean, they look pretty serious, in case you're wondering.
So here's the other part of my speculation / conspiracy theory, if you will. Tomorrow we're going to have Jimmy Carter lying in state in the rotunda, the Capitol rotunda. And so if they should happen to have another J6 insurrection / let's storm the the building. They're going to be running right past our good friend. So I'm sorry, I'm reading at the same time. Anyway, so that would be the thing. That would be what they would be complaining about. They do have the no scale fence all the way around, not just the Capitol. They have it all over the grounds. I mean, this no scale fence is everywhere. And I was just listening to the first J6. They didn't have this no scale fence anywhere around. Nowhere. They were able to get this no scale fence all the way around the Capitol area, the Capitol grounds, within 5 hours last time. And that was the National Guard that put that up when they finally did get called in.
Yeah, and there will be this time around. I think there's 7,800 National Guards men that will be out there. The police chief has amplified the police presence all through DC, but especially in this area. So they're, but it's interesting. Are you gearing up for, what are you gearing up for? Are you just saying, hey, out of an abundance of caution for anything that could happen? Or are you worried that the MAGA supporters are going to riot? Because I think instead the crowd will cheer unless something else happens that would cause people to want to act in a violent way.
So I would think that you could be reading this wrong. It could be that we actually have different people in charge now, and that it isn't that much of a scare factor anymore. Just saying. I would take the way that we all have been looking at things and switch it on its head for just a minute, because who's really in charge right now? Anyway, so tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. They're supposed to convene at about 1 o'clock Eastern time. There's a very good possibility that I will be live streaming that and doing some commentary at the same time. Producer Marie points out that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau of the 51st state of Canada, very well may, the note that I've seen that he will be stepping down no later than Wednesday. So that would put Monday in that as well. But he should be stepping down this week. It's very interesting. He's got zero confidence. He's got zero backing, zero support. And so because of that, he's got zero options. He has to step down.
Maybe his dad's dead. I was going to say, maybe his daddy will let him come back to Cuba and, have a government seat there, but I don't think that's going to happen. There's other things happening, by the way. Joe Biden is going to hop on a plane and fly to Rome for the last international trip as president. I wonder what he and the Pope have to talk about. It's curious. And then we can't overlook the January 10th sentencing. I mean, jail is not out of the question, but it's probably not on the table. But it's not out of the question. You might have
want to explain to the folks what you're talking about, Dave.
Oh, now I got to look up the case. Merchant wants to
It's the hush money case, and there's 34. There's 34 charges, and he's supposed to be.
It's the 34 felonies. He was convicted of, he's found guilty on 34 felonies. And now this is his sentencing will be, I mean, that's the hush money case, right? It was actually the improper bookkeeping for the payment of the hush money. It wasn't the hush money itself. It was the way that it was booked. And apparently you could figure out 34 counts, misdemeanor issue that's now felony because it's election interference. Anyways, I think we should ask for 40% of his payback too. Actually, we should ask for 100% of his entire family's wealth back to help pay down the debt. But anyways, so he will be sentenced on the 10th. And then of course, 10 days later, he's supposed to, take over. But what do you think, John? Are they going to try to sentence him to jail on the 10th? What do you think? 30 days in jail?
Yeah, I'm saying no. I think it's going to be rather interesting that they think that they can even do that. The best part is they just keep doubling down and doubling down. They're in so much trouble already. It doesn't even begin to. Let's just say they're in trouble. They're all going down for treason. You got to get in. You got to read the book. government gangsters, and you'll get the mindset, you'll understand the mindset of Kash Patel and why Kash Patel has so much power in the upcoming administration.
Hey, John, could you imagine you're a bailiff in the courtroom and Merchant decides that he's going to sentence Trump to even a minute in jail. What do you do? What do you do?
Well, first of all, Trump doesn't have to be at the courtroom. He's going to appear either I think he's going to appear via video conference. So he does not have to be in the courtroom. Merchant is giving him at least that much because he's smart and doesn't want to go unalived. Anyway, I'm going to move on because, I think I honestly think that whole thing is going to be, I think that whole thing is just going to be more of the monkey show. And I think that when it all comes down, a year from now, we're going to look back and our bingo cards will be completely full. How's that?
I look forward to it. I'm just reading Marie's comment. I do hope that there is justice, and justice means people like Merchant need to be investigated. He and his daughter, and all of the people that he's met with, and all of the people that gave him instructions need to be investigated, and that includes what's his name? I mentioned it earlier, and Braggs. Alvin Braggs, including him. They need a thorough investigation, and I'm pretty confident they're going to find some illegal activity, bring him up, try him publicly as you possibly can, let the entire world see the evidence, and then after that, when they're found guilty, what's the sentence for treason? What's the penalty?
I'll show you. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. I'll show you right now. Don't go anywhere. You ready for this?
I'm ready for this.
This is so good.
And thereby sentence you to imprisonment for life. Admiral Wilhelm Keitel, guilty on all 4 counts. The tribunal sentences you to death by hanging.
Defendant Hans Frank. The tribunal finds you guilty on counts 3 and 4 and sentences you to death by hanging.
Julius Streicher, guilty on count 4, crimes against humanity. Death by hanging.
Defendant Schacht. The tribunal has come to the conclusion that the evidence against Hjalmar Schacht has not been established beyond a reasonable doubt, therefore finds that Schacht is not guilty on this indictment.
Quiet, please.
Defendant Karl Dönitz, guilty on counts 2 and 3. The tribunal sentences you to 10 years imprisonment.
Foreign Minister von Ribbentrop, guilty on all 4 counts. The tribunal sentences you to death by hanging. Ernst Kaltenbrunner, guilty on counts 3 and 4. The tribunal sentences you to death by hanging.
Balder von Schirach.
When did Trump post this?
20 years in prison.
Alfred Jodl, on all 4 counts, guilty. Death by hanging.
How about that?
When did Trump post that?
You don't know.
Anyways, that's perfect. Referring to radically left scoundrels like Adam Shifty Shift. Yeah, I'm good with that. Let there be due process of law.
So, yeah,
but after due process,
he doesn't say when Trump posted it, but that was reposted on December 27th.
Yes, if try the evidence, and if found guilty of treason, then let's not waste any time and make it very public this time around. That's my ask.
All right, so here's another fun one for you. How about this one? I just did it again. Stop screen. Sorry, got to fix this again. We've been talking a little bit about what's going to happen on day 1, and these guys are making the rounds. It's kind of fun to watch. It's fun to watch.
Come on, Scott, get it up there.
He's working on it.
Okay.
you say criminals, does that mean you are going to go into already existing prisons at local level and deport people who are in those prisons? Are you going to go to workforces? I mean, how do you know where the criminals are, I guess is the question. And if they're working at a work site, are you going to show up to surprise them?
Well, look, we know a lot of the criminals are. ICE they're great at this work. We know where some are, but they simply haven't been able to go arrest them because of Secretary Mayorkas' priorities. It handcuffed ICE. So we know where a lot of criminals are. They've been prevented from arresting that we're going to arrest starting day one. As far as being in jails and prisons, we would love to work in local jails, but sanctuary cities won't allow us into those jails. It's much easier to arrest a public safety threat and the safety and security of public jail than out in the street, because the officer is safer that way, the alien is safer that way, the community is safer that way. But sanctuary cities who continue to release public safety threats back in the community, to the immigrant community, it puts that community at greater risk of crime. And here's what's going to happen when we go to the community and find that person, find that criminal alien, he's probably going to be with others who will have to arrest. So it's not safe for the community, not safe for the officers, not safe for anybody. Let us arrest a bad guy in the jail cell where you chose to arrest somebody and put him in a jail cell because obviously he's a public safety threat.
Okay, what you just said in there, it sounded like you were talking about collateral arrests. So you're going to target people you know are criminals, but if they happen to be living in a house where there are other undocumented people, you're going to sweep them up too. That's what I think you were just saying there. I wonder how you're going to parse out some of those collateral arrests. For example, will dreamers be protected? Donald Trump has said he wants to work with Democrats to protect them and give them status. That takes a long time in Congress. What do you do in the meantime? How do you make sure they're not caught up in a dragnet?
Look, every person ICE arrests, they do what we call a fugitive operations spreadsheet. They know exactly who they're going to arrest. They know exactly where they're probably likely to find them. And they have a lot of information on that arrest. Other people that are there that may be illegal, they'll handle by case basis.
Okay.
The concentration, I want to be clear on some public safety threats. If more agents in the jails means less agents in the neighborhood. That's why I'm pleading with sanctuary cities. Let us in the jail to arrest the bad guy. That way you're not forcing in the community.
It just, I just can't pretend to understand why they would want to protect these people that are rapists, murderers, people that have done violent crimes. They want to protect them in their jails because we don't want to send them home. Because why? What, we need them here?
I think the talking heads on TV are just following the narrative. Here's what you're supposed to say, and maybe a little bit of here's why. But at some point, you just gotta have to stop and start thinking critically for yourself. If they're part of a violent gang, they've been arrested. By the way, if they're in our jails, they need to be in prison. They can't come back in the country. If they're murdering and raping people, they need to be punished. I'm okay if they stay in jail and rot there. But I also think that if you know where these criminals are, it is your job to go and arrest them and then deport them or whatever the right thing to do is, but they cannot stay. And I like the fact that he started with criminals first, and I accept the fact that there may be some collateral, I'll say collateral damage, meaning there may be some other people that are not here. They're not villains, but they may get caught up in the two. And that's unfortunately the price that has to be paid, but they can't stay. We can't have any more apartment buildings taken over by a gang. Can't happen.
I think that they know where they all are. Last night I was in a Walmart, and the person, there was a group of about 5 people in front of me, and they were all trying to get their government issued card to work through the scanner, and it wouldn't work. And so they had to, didn't have enough to buy all the beer and sodas that they wanted. And so they had to add some cash to it. And luckily the cashier spoke Spanish and was able to talk them through it. But it was really clear that that this was one of those government cards. By the way, it has a beautiful American flag on it. That was kind of cool. But every time that card is used and every time that card is refilled, they have to go in. They actually have to check in to have that card refilled. They know where they are.
All right. I just thought it was automatic, but that's good to hear.
Yeah. And this is true too. This is horrible that they did that. 158 Dems voted last week to not deport rapists and pedophiles.
Yeah. We want to keep them here because
because they're contributing to the fabric of our country, of our Democrat Party.
The culture of our country is enriched by having them here.
Go ahead and say yours, and then I got another fun one for you.
Okay, so just you've heard this. There's a lot of people. This is close to that. A lot of people who've said, if Trump is elected, I'm leaving. And this is a little montage. I just thought you'd enjoy this.
If Donald Trump wins, I'm going to be out of the country.
Get him out. Listen, if he wins, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back.
Get him out of here.
I will move to Spain.
Get the hell out of here. Where would you go? Canada. Bye-bye. Bye.
I'm 100% moving to Canada. I love Canada.
Bye-bye, darling.
I'd be an expatriate.
Bye-bye.
Trump win, I'm moving to Africa.
Bye-bye.
If any Republican gets nominated, I'm going to move to Canada with my entire family.
Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Maybe it's time for me to move.
Bye-bye. Okay?
Reserving my ticket to get out of here if you win.
Bye-bye. See you sometime.
I have a house in Spain that is going to be ready right after the election.
Bye-bye. Good luck.
Panama.
Bye. Bing.
Iberia.
Ding. Bye-bye.
Nova Scotia.
Bye-bye. Enjoy yourself.
I'm definitely moving to Canada.
Bye-bye.
Straight to hell.
Goddamn right.
Iceland.
Bye-bye.
France.
Bye-bye.
Asia's pretty cool.
Bye-bye. Have fun.
Like a mental hospital for a while.
She's an MRF. What's that? Mentally retarded female.
I would move to the Caribbean.
Bye. Enjoy yourself.
Bahamas.
Oh, have a good day. Bye.
White.
Bye-bye.
I've always wanted to live in Italy.
That's it. Bye-bye. Wave goodbye. Bye-bye.
I mean, we all feel. I'm not going to say we. I speak for everyone when I say we agree, but I think I do. Bye-bye. You want to leave? Good. You know what? That's fine. Go someplace else. We're okay with that.
I don't know this to be true, but I've heard that LeBron James has taken his talents to another country.
Yep, I have heard the same.
Yeah, right. Stop talking and move.
Yeah, let's go.
Exactly. We don't care. Honestly, we don't care. I don't know why they have to. Why do they have to announce it? Like, no, please don't go. No, go.
No, don't go. Stay. Actually, I think the rules are: you go, you give your passport, you burn your passport, you lose your citizenship here. Go apply for citizenship someplace else. If they accept you, great. But you not a citizen here anymore. You can't come back. Go and don't go. You hate this country. You don't trust the leadership. You trusted the leadership now. That tells us a lot.
All right. So would it not be hilarious? Maybe this is part of Trump's trolling because he's great at it. But the whole idea about making Canada the 51st state, they all go up to Canada and then it becomes the 51st state. Hey, welcome back. Now get out.
No, where's that meme of the lefty screaming? Ah!
All right, I got another one here for you. You gotta see this one. Someone just mentioned list, and since oops, what did I do? Doggone it. Let me go back here. See, producer, you got to get back on it, buddy.
Come
Producer's not on it.
Potentially, with if Kamala had won versus Donald Trump winning, whether it's Epstein, whether it's Diddy, it's fascinating that these lists have been hidden for such a long time.
Who's hidden them? Where are they?
Exactly.
No, do you know where they are?
I don't know.
Where do you think they are? What entity do you think has those lists?
Well, the people in the White House currently.
You think the FBI has it?
Absolutely. I think they
What
all
do you
have
think will happen if Kash Patel is running the FBI? You think he'll tell us?
So that's my reason and why when people say, well, gosh, Oprah and all these people and Barack Obama, all these people that are lining up to support Kamala Harris, just like that, when no one was there before.
Yeah.
To me, and this is maybe going to get me in trouble, but I said there's a big reason why so many of these celebrities have lined up to support Kamala Harris, because they know that if he gets back in office, he's going to fix some of these things and these lists will be released. This is literally just my guess.
There is a lady sitting in prison right now because she was supplying children to adults, but supplying children to nobody. She was supplying children for sex to nobody.
Apparently.
Because nobody's been arrested.
Apparently.
But the lady supplying the nobodies that have been arrested is currently sitting in federal prison, supplying children to no one. I think the reason that you haven't seen those lists yet is because there are Republicans on that list. There's Democrats on that list. There's probably preachers on that list.
It's going to blow up
all
this
kinds
country.
of people, judges, all kinds of
All the
people that
athletes.
nobody wants the list to come out. It's mutual destruction.
100%. Absolutely 100% right. And, you know, we've been talking about that on the show recently too, is that they aren't saying anything because two things. One, look who's in charge. That's important. You know, when you have a DOJ that is completely corrupted, then there's absolutely no possibility of any kind of a accountability. We'll use that word because that was the headline for the tribunal. There's no possibility of any accountability. So why would you let them out then? They're not going to. They're going to come out probably on the 20th or sometime thereafter, and there's going to be accountability.
Also, it's good that it doesn't happen before then, because I think Biden would just pardon them all. You're all pardoned.
There you go.
Blow it up. They deserve all they get. Yep, agree. Yeah, I agree with that as well. This isn't about left versus right. This is the cabal and hopefully our freedom from the cabal.
All right. So speaking about terrible things that have happened, and it's kind of hard to believe that they would ever do such a thing. Have you seen all the comments across the country about these crazy fogs that have landed over different parts of the country? I have to tell you, I was coming up the 15 freeway and we got through a section of fog. I have to tell you, it had to been, I don't know, 50 miles long, and it was deep and it was so thick. And I don't ever remember in all the times I've driven through that area that the fog being like that. But that's not what they're saying that's happening down in Florida. It's going on days and days, in Europe, days and days. Some of the pictures, I have to tell you that they shine a light through it and it looks like there's, you know, like rice falling down. That looks like snow to me. I'm sorry. But still, it's rare that you would have that kind of weather looking like that. Well, take a look at this. I'm not saying this is what's happening, but this has happened in the past.
He authorized Sidney Gottlieb to spray germs into the fog in San Francisco Harbor. The point was to try to infect 800,000 people in San Francisco with this germ just to see how many would get sick. And they thought that the germ would sit heavily in the fog and would linger in the air longer that way to infect more people. Now remember, nobody knew this was happening. And I don't mean just nobody in San Francisco. I mean nobody. The CIA director didn't know it was happening. The president didn't know it was happening. This was Alan Dulles and Dr. Sidney Gottlieb. So what happened? They sprayed this poison into the air, and 11 people got identical urinary tract infections within the next 3 days. Now, we know that these were specific to the germ because these urinary tract infections included bleeding, but with blood that had crystals in it. Doctors were so taken aback by the fact that this wasn't just a urinary tract infection, but these people were discharging crystals from their bodies that they actually got together in doctors' groups and talked about it. That what in the world is this? Is this some kind of a new disease? And then like magic, it just went away. And it went away because it was just a CIA experiment. In 1951, Alan Dulles becomes the director of the CIA, just like he planned to.
A little scary, huh?
Now, take this for what it's worth. It's a doorbell cam. This is a person who says that this is fog. Now, I have a camera on the roof of my house that faces the street, and sometimes when the wind is blowing really strong and there's dust on the roof, it'll look like this momentarily. So I don't know if this is fog particles or snow or something else, but there's another one here. Let me see if I can get this one teed up really quick here. Hold on. Give me 1 second.
I'm really more concerned with that was back in the 50s that they did They were spraying the fog with germs, trying to infect 800,000 people. So what have they been doing since? I think it's pretty safe to say, right?
Something's happening. And were you in LA? You were, when they were spraying malathion for the mosquitoes.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
Unbelievable. But
or
anyways,
paraquat on the marijuana plants.
Yeah. Allegedly, this is what is in the dog dish after the fog. Oh, you're not seeing it because I didn't share it. This is allegedly what's in a dog dish after the fog. It's just some particulates that ordinarily aren't there. So I don't know, John, but
that looks like ants to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those where I don't know that we're going to know the truth unless there's enough people out there, home scientists, go collect the material and study it, and then.
Oh my gosh! Yes, there should be. There should be. There should be more than just that. I think that these people that do the experiments should do them on themselves,
right? And their families, themselves and their families first.
I think that's what that whole tribunal earlier was the Nuremberg tribunal. I hope we do have another one of those, and there are people that are held to account. And I believe, and I'm not, I wish I got money for all of you that would sign up and either listen to the book or buy the book and read it. I know that our friend L, who came on the show a couple weeks ago, he got the book for Christmas and he's excited about it. I can't wait to hear his take on the book because, like I said, you guys got to get that book. Check it out. Again, I wish that I got money for telling you guys to go buy this book. However, I don't get any money for it, but I do have a picture of the book here. You
should do one of those Amazon affiliate links, John. Then
I do have an Amazon store, by the way.
There you go.
I'm an Amazon affiliate. But anyway, Government Gangsters, there it is. I would bet that this is not available on Amazon just because it's Kash Patel. Anyway, there you go. So great book. Lots of good information in it. David, tomorrow there's a good possibility I will be going live. I know that you are working. I will have to sneak in and out as I work. But I'm going to try to post some of that up there because I think it's going to be fascinating at the very least. Either way, it's historical. You know, we've got a president who was the 45th and now the 47th. He had a 4-year hiatus in there, some would say. And no, don't try to get it from his website directly. Get it from me. I'll post a link. Just kidding. Get it any way you can. It's actually
any way you can. Doesn't matter.
Anyway, so I will be available. I'm just going to say that I'll find a way to get that out there and probably going to make some commentary along the way. And then on Wednesday, we have our normal Wednesday show, 8 o'clock. It's going to be a lot of fun. 8 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. And that's about all I got. How about you?
Yeah, that's it. I'm excited. I was nervous that we weren't going to have a speaker. And also the fact that Johnson came out and said, I am not going to make any deals. You're going to vote for me because it's the right thing to do, or you're not. But I'm not making special deals with you. And how long did it take for those 3 votes? I think 2 of the votes changed. How long did that take? Minutes. Remember the last time we went through this? It was 15 rounds or something crazy like that.
Done in 15. Yep.
Done it. Yeah. So I'm confident there's going to be some kind of fireworks tomorrow. And, but by the end of the day, I believe the electoral votes will be certified, and then it will just be daily between now and the 20th. So
if you haven't done so already, please hit that thumbs up, no matter what platform you're listening on. Tonight, we are live on YouTube, we're live on X, and we're live right here on Rumble as well. So please hit that thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, follow the Just Our Take channel on all 3 of those platforms. That's about it. We will catch you guys tomorrow. Have a great week ahead.
All right. Take us out with my favorite video.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we the people choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
Don't you want healthy children? Don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
The sweet emotion raining all over me.
I come to you today as a former Democrat. I will be a first-time Trump voter tonight.
The people dreamed this country, and it's the people who are making America great again.
American rock and roll.